Jimmy Dixon National Leads.
Well, good morning. It has been a brutal summer on the garden. Let me just show you. My onions are doing well. There's my kale. If it looks a little beat up, that's because the chickens got up in there. Little shits. Anyway, so this is peppers. I've already picked a whole bunch of jalapeno peppers. And this is calbanero peppers. Something like that. I thought I had a couple more on here. Oh well. This big old tall thing is gonna be for chili rellenos. This is, what the hell is it? Shoot, it'll come back to me. Here's a little green pepper action. And then you can see back here, I've still got some jalapenos that I didn't pick. I'm letting them get a little bigger. Now this is my eggplant. And you can see down here, oh yeah. I have several of them going on. Several eggplants. So, now for the reveal. Remember my little horse trough that I had green beans in? Bam! Oh, shuggy shuggy. Look at this monster. Let me walk up in here. Hey, butterfly. And you can see, what do we have growing? Green beans. Green beans. Here's another one. I am going to pick green beans today. Oh, scram. Look at all these green beans that are growing up here. Bayuga. All right. So my green beans, as always, did very good. They're Kentucky Wonders. And they're pole beans, which means they climb. Let me just back up here so you can see if I don't trip. I mean, look at that, monsters. Pretty good. Now, these get mostly sun during the day. Oh, here's the wildflowers. Wildflower. All right. This one here, you can see I'm a little disappointed. It's still going, it's just going a lot slower because it doesn't get as much sunlight because of this tree that shades it. But you can see I still got a couple green beans on there, which will be picked today. Here's this bush. We call it Sister Mary Agnes of Mercy. I don't know what it is. This bush has a lot of flowers and attracts a lot of bees. Here is this tomato plant. You can see it's branched out there, and I have several tomatoes, but they're wee. They're wee little tomatoes. Not the happiest. I got a case of the blight, I think. I had 2 other plants completely die. Anyway, that's a little garden update. I'm going to pick green beans, and if I have enough, I'm going to make a canning video. Bayuga. Canning video. All right, not too bad for the first picking. I believe we have enough here to can. So, let's go in the house. All right. So, I picked my green beans, and then I broke off the ends, and I snapped them into like 2-inch pieces or so, thereabouts. So, and this is the reason why you plant a lot of green beans, because they come in sporadically. I'm going to be picking for the next month at least, well into September. But if you don't have enough plants, you won't get enough to do maybe but 1 can at a time, or even cook enough for dinner for one time. So plant a lot of them, and then they'll come in. Okay, here's what else we got. We got the pressure cooker. Bam! You have to pressure cook green beans because they're a low acid food. You can water bath tomatoes and stuff like that, but for low acid, you have to pressure can. So this is my pressure can, and the good thing about it, if you can see, there's only a couple inches, 2.5 inches of water. You don't need that much water like you do in a water bath canner where you got to submerge the entire thing. Over here I got a kettle with hot water getting ready to boil, and then this is just a little saucepan with just a little bit of water. What I'm going to do with that is warm up my lids and my rings. don't boil your lids. You can boil your rings. All it is to sanitize them, but also it you can see on the ring here they have a gum lining around the edge, and that just softens it up in hot water so that it'll adhere better to the jar. Speaking of the jars, I sanitized them in my dishwasher this time. They're still piping hot. You want to use a hot jar because you're going to put this boiling water into it, and if you have a cold jar it'll crack. Plus, a hot jar eliminates bacteria. So what I like to do sometimes, if we have a whole lot of canning to do, me and my wife, we wash them in the sink, and then I turn them upside down and I put them in the oven at like 200 degrees. They're completely dry, but they're hot when you pull them out and bacteria free. So once I pack these jars, I'm going to show you the next step. Alright, so I packed a pint and a quart. And you really want to push them down in there, otherwise when you can and the beans shrink, you're going to have like a half a can. So you can see it's pretty full, but I got all this up here that I'm going to shove down in there. Get in there, beans. Alright, and you want to have it, it's called headspace. All that means is this ring here is a 2-inch headspace, this ring right there. So you don't want anything above that. Mainly because it'll pop up and it'll affect the seal. So, I've also put in, for this one, a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. But this is a quart, so it's going to get a whole teaspoon. Never use iodized salt. You can use canning salt or kosher salt. Doesn't matter. Next, we got this old hot mama. Oops. One-handed again. I'm going to put that on there for splash. And we're just going to add this hot water. Again, you do not want it to go above that bottom ledge ring. Yep, and that water is hot. Here we go. Oops. Alrighty. Next step is important. You want to shove. This comes with a kit, but I broke mine. Just shoving something on the outside. Never use metal. This is going to get rid of air bubbles. Alright, one down. And you can actually see the air bubbles coming up when I do this. Air bubbles equals bacteria. We don't want bacteria. Alright, let's smash that down again. Alright, next. Lids. This is a little magnet. Oops. Next is you wipe off the lid, the edges with a towel. With a good towel. In case you have 1 grain of salt, it'll affect your seal. And that would be bad. Let's put these lids on there. Hails bells, Loretta. Alright. Here's the thing. You just want to go finger tight. And you want to throw them around a little bit. You go finger tight, which I got to set this down for briefly. Alright, they're finger tight. Don't go beyond that because of the fact, let me turn this on high now. You don't want to bow up the lid. Now you can see the water. There's not a whole lot of water in there. But I need 2 hands again. So I'm going to put this down. Put the lid on. The lid is on. You can see my pressure gauge right there. and then this little flap here. What happens is I need this, and then here's my vent hole. This is what the weight's going to go on. So I need that vent hole to like spew like Mount St. Helens for 10 minutes. I'll set the timer once it starts doing that, and then I will come back. Okay, you can see we're venting like Old Faithful. There we go, that's a good view. And this has sprung, bam. So that's also holding in the pressure. And I got my timer set in the background. I'll see you in 8 minutes and 57 seconds. Alright, the timer went off. So we're gonna grab our weight and put it right on there. Now we get to watch the pressure gauge. For my altitude, I need to be right at 11 pounds. Once I reach 11 pounds, I'm going to turn the heat way down, but I got to watch this to make sure it doesn't go below 11 pounds, because if it does, you got to start the timing all over again. So, for here, for a quart of beans, it's 25 minutes. For a pint, it's 20. I'm going to do both of them for 25 just to be on the safe side. But because of my altitude here in Colorado, I have to add an additional 15 minutes. So it's going to be 40 minutes in the canner. And they're going to come out awesome. Let me tell you something. If you've never canned green beans before, you don't know what you're missing. They take on a brand new flavor. I know a lot of people that don't like green beans come to my house and eat green beans, and they're like, man, these are good. You can see I'm rapidly approaching my time, my pressure. So I'm going to turn that way down. Then I'm going to start my timer here in a minute. So, again, can these beans. For what other reason than you know what's in it. You don't know when you buy a can of beans at the store what's in there. Here, you saw what I did. Water and salt. Alright, I'm at 11 pounds. I'm going to set the timer. See ya after Alright, so that. I'm going to show you this just because you can see I'm well past 11. And if that happens, don't worry. Just turn your heat down some more. It'll gradually drop. It only matters is if it goes to the maximum, then take it off the heat. But as long as it doesn't go below 11 pounds of pressure. So every stove is different. So just adjust your temperature until it gets hovering around 11. But if it goes above it, don't sweat. Alright, my 40 minutes is up. So I carefully removed it and put it on some trivets to cool. The lid's on. My little thingamabob there still chubbing out. My weight is still on it, and you can even see the pressure. The pressure is still above 10 pounds, right at 11. So it'll take about an hour, maybe longer. Once this thing here drops, and this reads 0, then I can safely remove that. Don't do that until then. That's super important. So just let it chill out. Your work is done. Yeah. All right. You can see that my valve here has dropped. I read 0. I can take this off. No pressure. So I'm going to carefully remove this. I'm going to open it and tilt it away from me. I got to set this down. Sorry. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, it smells like green beans. Let me just grab this out. I'm going to set it on the counter. Now, if you look at them, you can still see the air bubbles. They're still cooking a little bit. But I look like I packed them good. They're nice and full. Now, here's the thing. You're going to hear pop, pop in a minute. And that's going to be from as they cool, the lid's going to pop down and create a suction. And it's going to hold them in. And then you'll be able to touch them. Right now, if I touched it, it would be bouncy, and we don't want that. Plus, you don't touch them. Take them out, let them sit here for 24 hours. 24 hours. Now, why do we preserve? Why do we preserve green beans and other vegetables? Because, like I said before, you know what's in there. Salt and water. No preservatives. I grew these myself from heirloom seeds. No GMO or genetically modified anything. So they're natural. 2, if you prep it all, it's good to have a little food storage. These will last 2 years to longer. You know, when you open it up, take a whiff. If it smells like green beans, you don't see anything visible like mold, they're good to go. Plus, you're going to recook them anyway on the stovetop, heat them through. I mean, these are completely cooked. But next comes the seasoning and adding the flavor too. And like, these are just the best beans you will ever have. When you can them, it changes the flavor and consistency. I can't even stress that enough. And it's super easy to do. A lot of people fear a pressure canner because they think it's going to blow up on them. It's not. So, hope you liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And there'll be more to come. I'm going to make some southern green beans out of these bad boys. All right, and those are going to blow your socks off. All right, have a great day.
Jimmy Dixon.